Many more gardens were planted this year, so much so that seeds became scarce. Of course, farmers and gardeners have been saving seeds since forever, and many garden seeds are relatively easy to save. That's the ones we're going to talk about today. First off, we have peanuts. We love to grow peanuts. They're a fun crop. Make their little flowers that have the shoots and then have the peanuts in the soil. And then we simply just take the peanuts, take them out of the shell, and plant them right into the garden. They're something that you can just save the seed from year to year and have your own little stash of peanuts. Another crop that many gardeners like to save seeds from are beans. These are called Christmas limas. It's a pole bean, so these are the kind that we have to grow up on a stake. We take bamboo and we make teepees out of the bamboo and plant a lima bean at the foot of each pole. Those lima beans at my place must be 10 feet tall. We've grown black turtle beans before, but this was a new variety. They're really pretty. Look at these things here. These are black cocoa. And that's a pretty good size for a black turtle bean. So bean seeds are simply left on the vine and they just dry right there on the vine. All you have to do is pluck them off, shell them out. They do like to have a freeze. So many seeds need something called stratification. And this is where we freeze the seeds so that they think that winter has happened and then they are ready to sprout. They won't sprout unless they've had a few weeks of being frozen. So one thing you can do with beans is you simply leave them out in the barn or out in a shed outside. If you do take them into the house, you may want to freeze them for a few weeks before you plant them. Now don't make the mistake I did one time and pull frozen seed out and plant it right away. They all rotted because they were cold and moist. So I had to dry them out and then sowed them, and they did fine. This plant is okra. These are seeds from okra here. Now okra is picked when it's smaller. These were left on to get big. This variety is called Granddaddy, and we'll just, you know, when we get ready to plant, you can just save them in the seeds, in the pods all winter long. The seeds are right in there. And then when you get ready to plant, you just chuck them on out, and you'll have all the seeds you need just off of a few pods. It doesn't take a lot. Yeah, okra seed. Look at that pumpkin. This is October. And this pumpkin is the old-fashioned Tennessee pumpkin. And I've got the seed from local people in Macon County, oh gosh, 35 years ago. This pumpkin was not grown this summer. This pumpkin was grown last summer. This pumpkin is over a year old. It's amazing how well these pumpkins keep. They were called cow pumpkins or hog pumpkins by the local folks up where I live. They fed them to their animals. They make a great pumpkin pie though, and they're real easy to save the seed from because you can just leave them right in the pumpkin. And then you can take them like this and split it open, and voila, you have seeds. And you can just reach right in there, grab some seeds, and they're ready to plant in your garden. You don't even have to do anything. Just you even have a cup to hold your seeds in. Comes right with it. Yeah, these are great. And this variety is related to butternut. So if I wanted to save seeds from butternuts or this variety, I can't grow them next to each other because they would cross, and I would have some kind of butternut pumpkin cross. The same thing's true if I was growing maybe a acorn squash and a summer squash. Those are both peppos. So another thing we have to be careful with when we're saving seeds is to only use open pollinated plants. So some plants are hybrids, and hybrids are fine to grow. We grow hybrids, sweet corn, hybrid tomatoes, but we don't save the seeds from those. We only save the seeds from non-hybrids. The hybrids are grown by having two different plants with known characteristics, letting the female open up and taking a male flower and putting it right on that female flower and then wrapping that in a paper sack, and that keeps other pollen from getting there, and so you'll have seed then that the breeders know will have these certain characteristics. But those seeds then, when they are planted back after that crop, they're going to revert back to their grandparents. They won't be just like their parents. Yeah. So use non-hybrid open pollinated seeds. Some seeds that we save, we don't really save seeds from. We save parts of them that are propagated asexually rather than sexually. So these are sweet potatoes, and if they're freshly dug, but this one here, because it got a little cut right there, it has little sprouts. Can you see those sprouts starting to come up there? So that's the eyes. Then each of these eyes will make sprouts. We plant the sweet potatoes beginning of April in a bed. Sometimes we'll put horse manure underneath it because that'll heat up and warm up the soil above it. A little sand around it. And then these sprout up slips. And the slips get that high, we cut them off, and the slips then are what we plant in the field. We're not planting the sweet potatoes out in the field. We grow them in a bed to get the slips that go out into the field. We love growing garlic. Have you ever noticed how garlic has a little natural place where it breaks apart easily? That's a good example of that. See right there? So I can just go like this and break that apart. Each of these cloves, when planted, will make a bulb of garlic. Yeah. So these are planted in the fall. We're planting garlic right now, end of September, beginning of October. If you look closely, you can kind of see this part right in here is where the seed is. So you see that those little things right in there? And that gets planted like this. If this gets ripped off when you're shucking your garlic, it won't grow. There's no seed value in this. This is just the food for the little seed that's in there. So I wondered why I wasn't getting good stands of garlic before I learned about that. But that's really important. And also, if the garlic has like bad spots or something like, you know, black or brown, we don't plant that either. Another crop that we grow a lot of and love is kale. It's planted in the fall, anywhere past August 15th to September 15th or so, and it then grows all fall and all winter, and in the spring it sends up a shoot. Well, even the little shoots that come up, they look like broccolis. They're about that big around, and we eat those all the way up to that point. And so kale is a great crop for Tennessee to have greens in the wintertime. This is a flat leaf kale variety, and we've been saving the seed for almost 40 years on this variety. And I had just let part of my kale patch just go up into seed at the end of May. So most of it gets taken them out before then. But we let this grow up, and it makes a big tall stalk like that right there. Yeah, so we cut these down, and then we just dry them on tarps, and then at some point we thresh them out, and this would be called threshing. And we're just going through here and we're cropping the seeds, and you can take a stick and beat them or any way you want to do to just try to get the seeds loosened from their hulls. Yeah, so each of these has seeds in them. And move it away. Look at all that seed right there. It's so easy to do just to get kale seeds. I am so glad that so many people are taking up gardening again. It's really a necessary thing, and it can be so fun. Saving your seed adds a real depth to the gardening experience.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.